Hello, Jim here. Do you want a safe and easy way to boost your income? Today, I want to talk about selling options and how it can be an easy and safe way to significantly increase what you make on a monthly basis. I started many years ago with making a couple hundred on a monthly basis, and now recently I'm making over 8,000 just with premiums on selling options. Now, is it a difficult thing to do? I don't think so. Is it a risky or unsafe thing? No, it's not. I think pretty much anyone out there can potentially do it. So today I'm going to talk a little bit more about that and share with you a really simple trade at the end of the video on a company I really like. Staying till the very end is probably worth it just so you can learn a little bit about this company that has huge potential going forward. So stay tuned. I think you're going to really enjoy what I have for you today. Okay, now the real problem with investing is you have to wait long periods of time to potentially use that portfolio. If you have it in a 401k or a retirement account, you have to wait till 59 and a half to pull those funds. So in a lot of cases, the account is just sitting there. You can't really use it. And this is even true with a brokerage, like, maybe it's treading sideways or going down and you're not able to really do anything with the account. You might hopefully be dollar cost averaging, so you're picking up more shares for cheaper prices. But in a sense, you're not really putting that portfolio to work. Now, with trading options, especially selling options, you can earn some income right away, and you don't necessarily need to wait for the market to go up. You can continue to make pretty good income or very good income as it goes sideways or even down. So it allows you to kind of work that portfolio sooner than you would be able to at other times. Most people just sit there, they don't really use their portfolio. Maybe they're at least, putting money in on a monthly basis and seeing it grow. But this allows you to use it now. You can potentially increase your monthly income, pay for things that you might want. Just to give you a for instance, when I first started doing it, the goal was just a couple hundred a month. It was like paying for a car payment. And when I saw that worked out, but I was working full time, I continued to do that year in and year out and got a little bit more aggressive, primarily doing covered calls. But then 4 years ago, I decided I really wanted to learn the right way to do it. And boy, was I missing a lot of the stuff out there that you could do with trading options. You could potentially earn some really good income. Now, it's a journey, it's not a get rich scheme, and you can do it in a safe manner. It does require kind of an income mindset, meaning you have to change the way you're looking at your portfolio. It's not necessarily just to see it grow, but also to earn income off of it. I still like to do a little bit of both. In my memberships, I talk about that some people are just pure traders. They don't really care about owning stocks. They just want to make income. I describe myself as more of an investor and a trader. So I want to earn income, but then I also want to own the stocks and ETFs and see them grow over time. But, changing that mindset, doing some things I would not have done before, but again, trying to stick to safe ways of doing these trades, it can generate a significant amount of money. Like I said before, I'm earning around 8,000 on a monthly basis, just bringing in premiums. That doesn't include my dividends and interest that I also earn on the different accounts. And when you go through markets like we've gone through lately, where it's tanked, April's been a pretty rough month. We have bounced back quite a bit in the last couple of days. I believe we're up probably 50% from the low. But it will help you get through those kind of times. It gives you kind of a cushion. And that's what I found when I look back since I've been trading options back in 22, I did better than the S&P 500. I don't seem to match it as, on really up times. Like in 21, it was hard to match. And then also in 23 and 24 times, it was hard to get that higher upper level. But over time, on average, I definitely have done better. Um, so, and why is selling options potentially a safer than what most people think? It's primarily because you can have people pay you for stocks you already want to own. So say you want to own Microsoft, and you know what the price is and you're willing to buy it at a certain price, well, you can sell an option that someone will pay you for that opportunity to sell you those shares. And it can be a significant amount of money. And then you can literally do that on a monthly basis till you own those shares. And then once you own those shares, you can then do the opposite. Someone will want to buy those shares from you at the right price and they'll pay you for that opportunity. It's almost like an insurance contract, more so, than a risky gambling trade. A lot of people will compare it to gambling, and you can turn it into gambling. One way to turn it into gambling is trading on a daily basis. Like, I think day trading is probably closer to gambling than longer, what they call days to expiration, meaning you're doing the trades once a month and you're trying to make some income from a certain number of trades. Now, if you're day trading and you're just on the market all day and you're trying to get in and out of stocks, in my mind, that's a lot riskier. And there are ways to trade like that with options. It's what's called zero DTE. So you're trading the options during the day. And again, that's a little bit riskier. But you can do it. You can stay as safe as you want to. You don't necessarily have to get into the crazier strategies. But there's a lot of different opportunities, a lot of different ways to trade. And I keep making small modifications. So I found what works for me, and I just make small modifications. And I've been able to do that for the last 4 years and slowly increase how much I can make on a monthly basis. I say slowly, but not necessarily that slowly. If you're working for an employer and they're giving you increases, you wouldn't be increasing as quickly as I am. I went from 4 years ago making 1,000 a month, then two, then three, and now I'm making over 8,000. I can potentially do better than that. I did over 9,000 in 1 month. And again, it's having the right mindset. It's identifying first stocks you really want to own that are good companies, safe companies, companies that have great potential going forward. And then, making some trades on them, and then realizing why you originally made that trade. So you look at a company like Microsoft that I talked about a minute ago, and you want to own that anyway. So if it's assigned to you and you pick up those shares, you're picking them up at a lower price than you would have if you had just bought the stock at that time. So I actually, when I pick up stocks, I typically will sell cash secured puts, and that's what I'm going to show you at the very end of the video. I'm going to do a real quick cash secured put and just show you how easy it is to do. Plus, I'm going to share with you a company I think has pretty interesting potential. And again, we'll do that at the very end of the video. So, the fact that you can do this, you can actually bring in so much more income, and then you can define how much risk you want to take. It's almost like turning the cash faucet on and off. You can turn it on really high, but of course you're taking more risk, or you can back off, take less risk, maybe not make as much, but potentially make a lot more than you ever thought you could, which could impact, when you retire, how early you retire. Also gives you other avenues with using the capital that, I'm able to almost get like early loans. So if I do certain kinds of option trades that are called leaps that are far out, I could potentially bring in a lot of money now, and it's almost like a free loan. So that's something that's a little bit more complicated. I'll talk about that in other videos. But I just wanted to share this with you and then share with you what a basic option trades. I also have set up what I call a checklist for doing this kind of a trade. I'll share that in the description if you click on it and provide an email. And then just a little bit about yourself if you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced trader. The checklist will automatically be emailed to you. So something to look for. Again, that'll be in the description. If you want to look at my memberships, details again will also be in the description. They're growing. I've added more bells and whistles. I'm a software developer by trade, and I recently completed a build, so I do have more time. I'm going to add more bells and whistles. I recently added TrendSpider. I'm going to add in even more AI related tools into the Discord, and maybe even inside Patreon too, for just helping people trade. I'm more, I want an environment where people can come and go. It's not that expensive. So it's not, it's not like a major purchase that you have to make. And I have people that join, then leave, then come back. I have people that switch from one membership to another membership. So I encourage you, take a look. It may be worth your while. You know, so just wanted to share that. Next, we'll go into a real world example of a cash secured put and how simple it really is to set up, as well as a company that I think has great potential. So stay tuned. Let's jump into that now. Okay, the company I wanted to talk about was Mora Holdings. They are a Bitcoin miner. They've really been beaten down lately. They at $14, they're, I think, a steal. They're fairly inexpensive. You can see here they have a market cap of 4.8 billion, but that doesn't even take into consideration all the Bitcoin that they own and how much they're producing on a monthly basis. If we look at profitability, they have fairly good profitability, which again is kind of hard to measure. You'll see here the cash from operations is negative, but they are putting a lot of their money into the Bitcoin that they um, produce. And even I think they provide services for other people that they're producing Bitcoin for them, and they keep a percentage of that. So even though they don't have, a lot of cash flow, it's primarily because the cash flow is Bitcoin, and we'll look into that a little bit deeper here in a minute. So their profitability looks good. Their growth is kind of weird. Again, it's with it being Bitcoin, it's a little bit hard to measure compared to the standard company. Valuation is A. So compared to some of the other companies that do what they do, they're a lot less expensive. So for a small account, being that it's $14, you can definitely trade it fairly easily within a small account, meaning if you have a $5,000 or $10,000 account. They don't pay dividends. Earnings have been a little bit all over the place. So this past quarter, they did really well, 226. I don't believe they have earnings until middle to late May. And then the financials are a little bit different too. It's, you look at the income statements, it's pretty significant. So they went from 4.4 million in 2020 to 159 to 117 to 387 to 656. And then their balance sheet is also kind of odd looking, which I think is just the nature of these Bitcoin miners. Um, I also like to see outstanding shares. I don't know, they did, that's long-term liabilities. Let's come down. So the Bitcoin or the total shares have been going up. So they did, doesn't look like as much. They did what, 100 million. Then they've done not quite as much, but I do believe that they're going to cut that back a little bit. So they are buying their shares back. Ratings, hold, buy, hold. The growth, again, it's hard to measure their growth. And then if you come down here, and we read what they do, it makes it a little bit easier to understand. So they operates as a digital asset technology company in the United States. It also provides technology solutions to optimize data center operations such as liquid immersion, cooling, and firmware for Bitcoin miners. The company was formerly known as Marathon Digital Holdings and changed its name to Mara Holdings. And it's headquartered in Florida. Now, this latest article, and this is Seeking Alpha. If you've never tried Seeking Alpha, um, I am an affiliate, so details will be in the description. If you want to sign up, you will get a discount. If you sign up through my affiliate link, I will get a little bit of a kickback. But these on Seeking Alpha, they have analysts, and anyone can be an analyst. You have to sign up for it, and then if you write a few articles, I believe you get the service for free. But this is one of the better articles that I've noticed recently, and they're talking about how they're kind of the least expensive energy-wise producer. And the part I wanted to take people to was down here. So this is increasing hash rate without additional power. So they're increasing the amount of Bitcoin that they can produce. So they did more in March. They did they won 242 blocks, and then they also increased how much they're processing on a daily basis, and um, went from 706 in February to 829, and that's on a monthly basis. So between these two, I believe the blocks won are when they've auctioned and they bought more Bitcoin. So they're producing almost 1,000 um, Bitcoins on a monthly basis. And if you look at 85, I think Bitcoin's around 85, 88,000. You can see that's a significant amount of money. I mean, we can just do a quick calculation. Um, I'm working with a new laptop, so I'm not quite sure where that is, but I believe that's, let's see if I can find the calculator. Might be over here. Let's just type it in. Okay, here we go. So let's just say it's 85,000 and they're making, what is that? Almost, let's just say 1,100. So 820, that's like 1,050. We'll just say they're doing around 1,050. So times 1,050, talking almost $89 million per month. And they have quite a bit of Bitcoin. I think they talk about it up here. Um, yeah, Mara Holdings may report Q1. They're thinking they might have a good year-over-year jump. Um, so in March 2026, Mara had 17% increase in blocks won. Now I'm trying to find where they actually mention it, but they do mention how many Bitcoin that they have. This is that they're the low energy producer. Um, I believe it's right around 50,000, maybe 52,000. And I believe their Bitcoin all added together is like $4 billion or something along those lines. So I won't go any deeper into that. The fact is um, they have fairly good, I lost it here. Let's go back. They have fairly good profitability. They have a lot of the things I like to look at, but I do believe they're undervalued because of the Bitcoin. The market's not really taking into consideration they have over 4 billion in Bitcoin, and then their market cap is 4.8, and they're making or producing that amount of Bitcoin, almost 1,000 a month. Is pretty amazing. The other thing I really like about them is they have really good options volume. So if you come over here and you look at options volume, this is expiring tomorrow, but you can see the high numbers, volume, you know, in the thousands here, almost 10,000 with right at 14, and pretty good premium anywhere from, if you're looking at calls, let's look at puts because we're doing a cash secured put. So not bad. And again, this is expiration for tomorrow. So you go out to the 9th and you're going to see it's a lot more. So here around 14, you're talking $1 and lots of contracts, lots of volume, lots of, which is really important because if you want to roll some of these trades, it makes it easier to potentially close them at a later date, or, just the fact that you have such volume. You don't see this kind of volume with most companies. Coca-Cola has maybe a tenth of this kind of volume. So that's something else I typically look at, which is really good. So now let's actually take a look at what a trade would look like. So I could say sell to open. This is Mara. The strategy is put. Here it has the actual what Mara Holdings is worth. It's at $14.08, down a little bit today, which if you're selling puts is typically a good thing. So I'm going to do one contract. It's expiring tomorrow's, and you can see I could still make in one day between 24 and 26 dollars. Again, you multiply that by 100. Every contract is 100 shares. So this is saying I could get between 24 and 26. Someone has put a bid out there they want to pick it up at 24. Someone else is asking for 26. And that's another nicety of having lots of volume. Some companies you'll see huge spreads between these, but with a company like Mara who has lots of volume and open interest, you get more choices. Now, I wouldn't do expiring tomorrow. I would look at next Friday potentially, and you can see it goes up to 64 or 66. I actually would probably go out 2 weeks, so I would look at 5.9, and then I would probably, being it's 14 now, I would probably look at more like 13. Let's just see what that delta is. So it's like a 29 delta. So if I did a 12, and delta, which is right here, these are what's called the Greeks, and delta just primarily means what the percentage is that it's going to be assigned to you, meaning you're going to pick up, because again, you're selling someone the opportunity to sell you 100 shares at Mara at $12. So the chance that that could get assigned to you, meaning you own those 100 shares, is around a 17% chance, which typically is fairly low. I mean, so the chance that it goes down to 12 is probably fairly low, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Again, I think they're oversold, so it could be more like a $15 stock. So if you pick it up at 12, but it's really worth a 15, then you're also getting some really good appreciation. And again, you're picking up between 26 and $27 for doing this. Now, again, I will typically go farther out. So I might even look at a month because I like to do these on a monthly basis. So I went up a little bit higher. It's a 22 delta. Being that I think they're oversold, I might take more risk. So I might look at 13. Let's just see what it looks like if I go to 13. So it goes all the way up to $85 to $89 in 1 month. So I'm putting at risk around $1,300 minus whatever premium that I end up with. So let's close this. So it'd be around 1,200 at risk. Um, you know, I typically will do 4 contracts. So I would look at, and so you see here it's $340. And then I might go a little bit lower. We'll go back to that lower PE and we can, or delta, 22 delta. I could go even lower to 1150, still bring in $156. That takes me to an 18 delta. During this market craziness and the tariff craziness, I'm suggesting people take a little bit less risk. So in this case, it's right around, what was it again? An 18 delta, and it's 1150. Do I think it could go down to 1150? It could, but I think it's just as likely that it could go up to 15 or 18 or 20 or something like that. It does kind of move along with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes down, it seems like Mara goes down and vice versa. So here I could do a limit order. What I typically would do is I would do the ask. So I would click on the 42 and you can see here it's 168. And then I usually go $1 lower, especially when it's this inexpensive. So here I'm saying sell to open 4 contracts. So I could end up owning 400 shares. But again, at 1150, that's less expensive than most other stocks. Like Microsoft is, I think it's over 300, almost close to $400. So you would almost need 10 contracts for this to match that. So with 4 contracts, it's like a $40 stock almost. And then so I'm doing that. I'm saying this contract will be in place till 5/23/25. Again, it's at 1150 and it's a put, meaning someone could put these shares to me. They'll have to pay me 164 in order to do that. I'm doing a limit order, meaning I'm getting to pick between the bid, mid, and ask, what I want to earn for it. I typically will go with the ask and $1 or $2 lower. And if it doesn't go through, then I just replace the trade, go down closer to the mid. These will go through a lot, especially if they're this close, 39. I mean, you got bid 39, mid 41, and ask 42. So you have a good chance if you select the ask even that it might go through. And all the brokerages set it up where you can easily change it. Or if you want to go with higher, meaning you think that it may go down more today, you could do this and up the price a little bit. Then you can review the order. We'll do that really quick. So here, and I always suggest to people before you push the order through, just make sure everything looks good. So it's saying sell to open for Mara positions expiring on 5/23 at 11:50 is the strike. So they would only be assigned to you if the stock dropped below 11:50 by expiration. Now they can be assigned early, but it doesn't happen that often unless it's fairly deep in the money. The limit request is 50 cents, meaning I want 50 cents per contract. And then here I can see, I also like to verify it's sell to open. A lot of times, if you're in a hurry, you might make a mistake. You might do buy to open. So you're buying those contracts, you're buying a put, which I won't get into with this video. If you do that by accident, you can just run the same trade through, but sell to open the next one. And then they'll equal out. You might pay a little bit or you might receive a little bit. And then you can run the trade through again. But it's fairly easy to fix a mistake like that. Here they're talking about the different bid sizes. Today's open. You can see the volume's kind of crazy in the market. So there's a lot of people trading today. And I noticed I'm getting notifications on my phone every few seconds. I had to turn it down because I have so many members that are currently trading and sharing their trades. So at this point, I could say place order. And if it goes through, this 197 is in my account. I can use it. I can do whatever I want to do, primarily because this is in my regular brokerage. If it was in my IRA, I'm a little bit more limited because I can't easily put more cash in it. But I typically keep enough cash that, if I wanted to spend this 197.34, I could spend it. And I typically do. I will generate a lot of cash and then I will use the cash for, living, or I am building a barndominium. I actually have taken a lot of money out of my brokerage to kind of pay for that as we're building it. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Let me think, let me know what you think. Have you been making trades like this? Have you ever tried to trade options? So, if you have done it, also add a comment about what you think about Mara. I think they're drastically undervalued. I think they're going to pop at some point, especially when the momentum picks up and people realize, wow, this company has a pretty substantial holdings of Bitcoin, and they're not being priced right. So, again, thanks for taking the time to watch and look forward to seeing you next time.